Hello, everybody. Today I will be presenting on social anxiety in the school setting for my evaluation project. Maybe. Let's begin with some background on my practicum agency. Tanager Place is located in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Tanager operates in various settings, including Cedar Rapids, Washington High School, which is where my evaluation took place and where I completed my first semester of field placement. Tanager's mission is to provide services to children and families that inspire, empower, and heal. Tanager has a rich history as Lynn County's first children's human service agency. Since its inception in 1879, it has evolved to meet the growing and diverse needs of the community. Originally founded to serve the local area, the agency expanded its reach significantly. Tanager offers a comprehensive range of services aimed at prevention, treatment, and outreach. These services are designed to cater to children, teens, and young adults, with a particular focus on mental health and well-being. The agency's programs are well regarded for their holistic approach and commitment to long-term positive outcome. The primary clientele of Tanager include at-risk children and their families. Each year, the agency serves more than 4,000 youth and families, primarily from Lynn and Johnson counties in southeast Iowa, although their services are open to all families in need. Now let's dive into problem identification and assessment, focusing on generalized anxiety, also known as social phobia. Individuals with social anxiety disorder are at an increased risk of dropping out of school and experiencing employment disruptions. They are more likely to suffer from social isolation, higher levels of stress, depression, somatic symptoms, and poor sleep quality. Social anxiety is influenced by a variety of factors, including gender, socioeconomic status, negative coping skills, lower levels of psychological capital, the mode of educational delivery, and the presence of social media fatigue. The impact of social anxiety on students can be profound. It affects their academic performance, social interactions, and overall well-being. Students with social anxiety may avoid participating in class, have difficulty forming relationships with peers, and experience significant stress in social situations. I noticed a significant amount of students that experienced social anxiety at school and expressed in sessions that they had an intense fear of being judged by others. They avoided social interactions and would experience physical symptoms. Seeing firsthand how many students experience social anxiety, I decided that there was a need for intervention in the school setting. I started meeting one-on-one with a student who exhibited severe social anxiety, which is when I decided to involve her in my evaluation project. The primary objective of the therapy sessions is to alleviate the student's social anxiety, making it a targeted and personalized intervention. The three questions that my evaluation hoped to answer are: 1, do weekly 45-minute therapy sessions with targeted activities for social anxiety contribute to a decrease in students' social anxiety? 2, while utilizing the severity for social anxiety scale, do the students' ratings of social anxiety decrease or increase throughout the intervention? And 3, will students report the establishment of new relationships by the end of the semester because of therapy? Here is my logic model. So we have the inputs, so trained therapists, that would be me, and then educational materials, therapeutic environment, and then collaboration with school staff, as well as my supervisor. And then the activities for the outputs, conducting initial assessments to identify the students' triggers, introducing basic cognitive restructuring techniques, establishing a foundation of trust, progressively exposing the student to moderately anxiety-provoking social situations, implementing social skills, and development of strategies for immediate anxiety reduction. And then for participation, each week we do 45-minute sessions. We do workbooks and worksheets that are supported by research. And then we also track her social anxiety with a social anxiety scale that is given once a week. And then the outcomes, short term would be reduction in the frequency and intensity of social anxiety symptoms and initial improvements in social anxiety and social functioning within the school environment. Medium, continued progress in managing anxiety in various social contexts and strengthen relationships with people in the school. And then long-term, sustained reduction in social anxiety over time, independence in applying coping skills, and then successful integration of learned skills. So according to According to the National Library of Medicine, CBT is a blend of behavioral and cognitive interventions to reduce maladaptive thinking and ensure positive prospective outcomes. At my practicum site, CBT is the most frequently used model and is considered the first line of treatment for most anxiety disorders. The cognitive model is rooted in Aaron Beck's cognitive theory. It posits that individuals with social anxiety harbor negative thought patterns and distorted beliefs about social situations, their own abilities, and how others perceive them. CBT for social anxiety disorder targets these maladaptive cognitions through cognitive restructuring, challenging irrational thoughts, and modifying thoughts to foster more balanced and realistic thinking. The intervention, as I spoke on the last slide, briefly, is meeting once or twice a week for 45 minutes to an hour for CBT sessions. During these sessions, the student fills out a social anxiety scale to measure her anxiety levels. Each week's activities and pace vary based on the student's feelings and readiness. Sometimes the student needs to vent about friend issues, and other times she is ready. Excuse me. And other times she is ready to work on specific activities with certain goals. I let the sessions be paced by her needs and readiness to engage. CBT is a comprehensive and adaptive approach for treating social anxiety disorder, guided by several prominent theories. So the evaluation design for this project employs a B-only design, which is well suited to track the changes in social anxiety levels over time following the intervention. This design allows for the systematic monitoring of the student's progress without the need for a control group, aligning with the ongoing weekly completion of the severity measure for the social anxiety disorder. And I chose this design for a few reasons. Seamless integration. It integrates smoothly with my existing data, with no disruption to the therapeutic process. Efficiency. I was able to maximize efficiency and minimize additional burden on both myself and the student. Longitudinal perspective. So by employing this scale weekly, we were able to capture a longitudinal perspective, seeing the reduction in social anxiety, and then systematic monitoring. The design facilitates a comprehensive assessment by systematically tracking changes in social anxiety over an extended period. Some threats to internal validity, external events, so like outside of the intervention could affect the student's anxiety levels. And then natural development strategies could influence the student anxiety levels. And then testing effects, so like repeatedly measuring social anxiety could influence the results. The instrument, so like changes in the measurement tool or procedures over time, and then regression to the mean. So extreme scores tend to move toward the average over time. And then impact of threats on findings, attribution of changes without a control group. It is challenging to attribute changes in social anxiety solely to the intervention. Alternative explanations such as external events or natural development should be considered. And then causal inferences, the absence of a control group limits the ability to make strong causal inferences about the effectiveness of the intervention. And then the desired outcomes, as I talked about in a few other slides on the logic model previously, we have the short, medium, and long term. And then, so short-term reduction of social anxiety symptoms and initial improvements, medium-term continued progress and strengthen relationships, and long-term sustained reduction, independence, and applying coping skills, and then successful integration. So the findings revealed that the measurement tool used had excellent internal consistency and strong correlations between items, along with its favorable convergent validity with clinically validated self-report measures. Its correlation with the internalizing domain of the YSR suggests potential discriminant validity. There has been demonstrated that it exhibits predictive power for clinical severity measures comparable to other validated social anxiety assessment tools. So my approach to data collection was streamlined and efficient. So during our weekly meetings, the student completed the anxiety scale, and then I put it into a Google spreadsheet, and then eventually put it into an Excel spreadsheet. This gave us a way to monitor her anxiety levels over time. I was the sole data collector, so I didn't really need to train any other personnel. So this ensured consistency and accuracy in data collection. The really only anticipated challenges included scheduling conflicts or the student's potential discontinuation of services. So we planned to just have open communication and make sure that we planned ahead our sessions. So here we have the client progress chart, and we have the highest score at the first session, or actually I think the highest score was at the second session at 22, and then the lowest score at the last session at 1. So this involved me tracking changes in the student social anxiety levels over time using the severity measure for social anxiety disorder. By analyzing the weekly scores, we aimed to determine the effectiveness of the CBT and intervention in reducing social anxiety symptoms. The paired t-test could not be performed reliably due to precision loss and division by zero errors, which occur when the data are nearly identical or have no variance. This was likely due to comparing only the first and last scores, which are not sufficient for a robust statistical test. And then the Cohen's d calculation resulted in infinity due to the standard deviation being 0, highlighting the need for more data points for reliable analysis. Despite the statistical limitations, the visual analysis clearly shows a significant reduction in the student's social anxiety levels over the intervention period. The graph illustrates a steady decrease in scores from week one or session one to session 15, suggesting that the intervention was effective. Um, while the statistical test faced challenges due to limited data points, the visual and descriptive statistics strongly indicated positive outcomes from the intervention. Um, the significant decrease in weekly scores aligns with the desired short, medium, and long-term outcomes, suggesting that the intervention effectively reduced social anxiety symptoms and improved the student's overall well-being. Um, so some conclusions, implications, and lessons learned. The intervention showed promising results in reducing the student's social anxiety. Um, the key findings, a significant reduction in symptoms from a score of 22 to 1. The student also shows improved social functioning, and then progress in managing anxiety. So, what I witnessed was that the student, when I initially met with her, the student was very reserved and shy, and um, that's how she described herself as well. And she had a lot of anxiety surrounding her friends, um, just like talking to them, preparing what she's going to say, and then like analyzing everything that she said afterwards when having conversations with them. Throughout the semester, she made new friends. She was more confident in her relationships with them. And she actually started liking a boy and then asked out that boy. And her and that boy are still dating. So it was really big for her to take that leap of faith to ask that boy um, like on a date. So that was really cool to see her grow in that level of self confidence and see her social anxiety decrease. Um, but like despite the positive outcomes, there were like several limitations. So like there was a lack of control group. So without a control group, um, attributing changes solely to the intervention is challenging. And then there were limited data points. So the analysis was limited by a number of data points, impacting the reliability of statistical tests. There were potential external influences, and measurement consistency, and then there were potential data collection issues, so like scheduling conflicts and like potential discontinuation uh, could affect the data consistency. The evaluation results have several implications for future practice and program designs. Continuing the intervention, the positive trend supports the continuation and potential expansion of the CBT intervention for similar cases, enhancing the data collection, incorporating more frequent and varied measures for a comprehensive evaluation, incorporating incorporating control groups, and then training additional personnel. Reflecting on the evaluation progress, some lessons I've learned and recommendations for our future evaluations are broader data collection, addressing external factors, including a control group, improving logistics, and then continuous feedback and adjustment. And then here are my references. Thank you for listening.